Good evening. I call this February 2nd meeting of the Paducah Planning and Zoning Commission to order. I want to welcome all of you all, and I want to actually ask if you would stand and join us, please, as we say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Irvin, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Benberry?
Here.
Bradford?
Here.
Morrison?
Here.
Schramke? Shadle?
Here.
Wade?
Here.
Chair Casilius?
Here. Mr. Wade, you have the minutes motion.
I do. I move that the reading of the minutes for the January 5th, 2015 be waived and the minutes of said meeting as prepared by the secretary be approved as written.
Second.
Second by Shadle. Are there any corrections, additions, anything? Call the roll, please.
Wade?
Aye.
Benberry?
Aye.
Bradford?
Aye.
Morrison?
Aye.
Shadle?
Aye.
Chair Casilius?
Aye. Mr. Morrison, you have the Falconite hip item.
Yes, madam, I do. I move that this commission remove from the agenda the application of Falconite Hip LLC for the proposed re-subdivision of property located at 4600 and 4610 Partridge Lane and 2672 Legends Drive because said plat has been recorded.
Second.
Second by Bradford. Any comments? I think it's pretty clear cut. We have already approved this item, and basically we were just holding it up. Call the roll, please.
Yes, ma'am. Morrison?
Right?
Shadle?
Aye.
Wade?
Aye.
Benberry?
Aye.
Bradford?
Aye.
Chair Casilius?
Aye. Mr. Shadle, you have Kelly and Terry Ray.
I move that a resolution entitled "A Resolution Constituting the Final Report of the Paducah Planning Commission on the Proposed Development Plan for Multiple Principal Structures Located at 515 North 8th Street" be adopted.
Second.
Second by Benberry.
Shall I speak?
Yes, please.
This is located in the H2 zone. The applicant there is that owns the existing single-family home off North 8th Street is proposing to build a 30 by 34-foot garage at the rear of the structure with a apartment upstairs that could be most likely rented, but also could be used for guests if they come over. In the city of Paducah, you're only allowed one principal structure on any one lot. Principal structure meaning a residence or a business, unless you come to the Planning Commission for multiple principal structure approval at a public hearing. Adjacent property owners have been notified. With a recommendation from this board, this will also have to go to the Historical and Architecture Review Commission for approval of the site plan, but also approval of all exterior materials that are visible from the public right-of-way.
I'm assuming that access to this garage would be from the alleyway that's behind.
Yes, if you notice, I left some drawings as you came in, and between the, I believe it's the old Ideal Real off of Harrison Street, and then the property, which is 515 North 8th Street, there is an existing alley that goes between Martin Luther King Drive and Harrison Street.
Does anyone else have any questions, comments? Do we have any idea what the size of this garage will be?
Yes, it'll be 30 by 34 square feet. And it's interesting. I've been reading up on this over the last few years, actually, and especially in the western part of the United States, we're starting to see a lot more of these types of units. They actually refer to them as granny flats or something like that, but you're starting to see a lot more of them start to come this way. So at some point in the future, it may be a policy discussion before this board over the next few years. Is this something that we want to see more of in our community or not? But at this point, they're really not allowed unless you have multiple principal structure approval.
Any comment at all from adjacent property owners?
Not that I've heard.
several years ago, did we not have a piece of property in the West End that had a garage, and they were going to put an apartment above the garage, and they had to have, I think at that time, if I'm not mistaken, it's been several years ago, where it had to be connected by a covered walkway?
That is another way that you can do that. If the actual, what would be considered a separate structure, is physically attached to the principal structure, which is the house, then it's considered part of the principal structure, and you don't need multiple principal structure approval. Here, it's going to be 26 feet or so away, so it will be separate. I do know of a couple cases where we've approved these in the past. In Fountain Avenue, several years ago, we approved one, I believe, between Madison and Harrison. Then also, several years ago, maybe 6, 7 years ago, there was one approved in Lower Town also.
Any other questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Yes, ma'am. Shadle,
Aye.
Wade,
Aye.
Benberry, Bradford,
Aye.
Morrison,
Aye.
Chair Crecilius.
Aye.
Sorry about that, sir.
That's all right.
All right.
Mr. Benberry, you have the City of Paducah request.
Do. I move that a resolution entitled, "A Resolution Constituting the Final Report of the Paducah Planning Commission on the Proposed Text Amendment of the Paducah Zoning Ordinance by amending Section 126-76 Sign Regulations be adopted."
Second.
Second by Morrison.
Would you like me to go through these?
Yes, please.
Okay. This is a culmination of text amendments that we've had on our list for some time. Quite often, we'll have applications that will go before the Board of Adjustment, and they'll actually grant variances for something that exceeds our dimensional requirements of our Paducah zoning regulations. After a while, we put all these together and bring them back to the Planning Commission to really clean up our zoning ordinance. The thought being, if in these instances it's all right to grant variances, then we probably should go ahead and amend our zoning regulations so in the future, people that want to do it will be able just by right be able to do what they want to do. So the first one that we're looking at is currently it's for projecting signs. Currently, the only place in Paducah that you're allowed projecting signs that are actually out over the right-of-way or over the sidewalk is in the B2T district, which is basically Broadway from 7th Street to the river. And the reason for that is most of those are historic structures, and historically they were built on the right-of-way. What we have, though, throughout the city is other buildings that may be 100 years old or so that are built right up on the right-of-way and really don't have any way for any signage going perpendicular out. All the signs have to be along the face of the building. So what this text amendment would do is if a building's located 1 foot or closer to the right-of-way, it would allow them to apply for a projecting sign just like buildings along Broadway would. An example of that is the Dry Ground Brewing Company, a sign that you see a picture of there. The second one is for interior signs within the lot that gives directions for where people to go, whether it be for a drive-through, for an enter, exit. We're requesting that be changed to bring those signs up. I believe it's to 40 inches. The third one is to allow for awning signs to be the same dimension as wall signs in the B2T zone. I believe that they're allowed to be up to 50 square feet. Obviously, most awnings are much smaller than that, but it doesn't really limit the size of an awning sign. I believe right now it's 8 square feet, I believe. So that would increase the signage for awning signs in the B2T zone. Also, under enforcement procedures, right now within the sign regulations, there's an entire section just on enforcement. What we would like to do is to basically replace that entire section and any enforcement of sign regulations and or appeals of our sign regulations in the future would fall directly under Chapter 42, which is the Paducah Code of Ordinances, and that's through fire prevention. They've already got a system set up for that. That makes it a little bit more streamlined, a little bit easier for the enforcement division of this ordinance, which is already the fire prevention division.
Correct me if I'm wrong, the inspection department now falls under the fire prevention?
Yes, and that's actually called the fire prevention division,
Right.
which used to be the inspection department.
Right.
And you can see through this text amendment, we've actually made that correction in several instances.
You addressed the size of awnings in the B2T districts, and the text amendment will change it to 50 square feet. And I noticed that the awnings in other zoning districts are expressed in terms of percentages, so like 20% of the square footage of the face of the building. What's the rationale for the difference in?
The 20% in other districts, those are what wall signs are considered to be. The actual size is relates to the building. In the B2T zone, I believe that the wall signs are already a maximum of 50 square feet.
Okay. Thank you.
A rationale for 30 to 60 inches from moving from street level, is that more of a standard now?
Sight line.
Gotcha.
Yep. And there is one example that's in place, and that's the Dunkin' Donuts at the corner of Jackson and Lone Oak Road.
Nobody came before us not too long.
And I believe there's actually even a request from the Board of Adjustment, Dan, that we do prepare a text amendment to bring to the Planning Commission from that board.
Increase those size of those signs too.
4 to
6
from
square
4 to
feet.
6.
Up to 6 square feet.
Do you have any other questions or comments? I appreciate the input from members. Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Yes, ma'am. Ben Berry,
Aye.
Bradford,
Aye.
Morrison,
Aye.
Shadle,
Aye.
Wade,
Aye.
Chair Casillas.
Aye. Mr. Bradford, you have Ralph and Patricia Moss, waiver of subdivision.
Yes. I move that this commission receive and file the application of Ralph and Patricia Moss for the proposed re-subdivision of property located on 1601 Bloom Avenue. I further move that the requested approval be given in compliance with all other applicable provisions of the Paducah subdivision ordinance be waived.
Second.
Second by Shadle.
This property here is located at the southwest corner of Paxton and Bloom Avenue. What we're wanting to do is abolish the interior lot lines of lots 1, 2, and 3 to create one tract of land. They're planning on putting a warehouse here, the client, West Kentucky Garage Builders. So that's the purpose. And then also, we are going to take care of that encroachment on that portion of that gravel drive that encroaches on the Woolley property.
That is a property with a lake in it, is that correct?
What's that?
Is there a lake in there?
I don't, not that I'm aware of.
There, that's further down.
Is it on down?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I believe that's a vacant lot, the Woolley lot.
Oh, I see. It would be back down.
Bloom. The smaller sheet that you got here, it is showing a correction, and that relates to a note that was put in the owner certification, and also a note that actually spells out that encroachment into the adjacent property, or into Bloom Avenue right-of-way as well.
Yeah, correct.
Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Bradford,
Aye.
Morrison,
Aye.
Shadle,
Aye.
Wade,
Aye.
Ben Berry,
Aye.
Chair Casillas.
Aye. Mr. Wade, you have the KSA Enterprises item.
I move that this commission receive and file the application of KSA Enterprises, Inc. for the proposed re-subdivision of property located at 6167, 71, and 75 Lakeview Drive and 74 and 80 Plantation Drive. I further move that the requested approval be given in compliance with all other applicable provisions of the Paducah subdivision ordinance be waived.
Second.
Second by Morrison and Benberry.
Here, we're wanting to abolish also several interior lot lines of lots 18, 19, 20, 21, 29, and 28 of the Magnolia Village subdivision. It'll be a site for the new pain management center. And along with that, I'll be having to abolish those public utility easements along those side of those lot lines.
I was going to ask you if those had ever been developed. They haven't, have they?
No, it's all undeveloped. And those 11 by 17s are the revised ones. The original one that I submitted has been, several items have been revised, and those 11 by 17s show that. I believe the lot 29, that was actually a 30-foot public utility easement instead of a 15-foot. And I noted on lot 33, the regional stormwater detention pond. And also the Paducah city limits there along the south side of Plantation Drive. And along the east side of lot 30. There notes the limits of the city and the county.
I was with you till you said lot 33.
Yeah, lot 33 is, it's on the 11 by 17. It wasn't on the big, I revised the plan.
Shaded in on that
It's not on your
new
large
plat.
one. It's the bottom left.
Or not that one, I'm sorry, the other one, the other printed. You need one to look at.
Thank you.
What they've got is for Magnolia Village, when it was developed, they had to create a storm detention basin. And that is on lot 33, and that's why he showed it so that, and with a note about the storm detention. So that will go of record, though, as lot 33. Not sneaking anything in.
The abolishment of the lines doesn't affect the city, county, not an either or. Oh,
No, this site's all in the city.
I'll make sure.
Good question.
Yes, both.
Any other questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Wade,
Aye.
Benberry,
Aye.
Bradford,
Aye.
Morrison,
Aye.
Shadle,
Aye.
Chair Crecilius.
Aye. Is there any other business to come before the commission tonight? If there's no other business, we stand adjourned.